Okay, good morning. It's early Monday morning. I just opened up week 4, and I've just polished off grading the discussions and some other things associated with week 3. So we're moving along pretty well. If you've just finished chapter 3, which for my money, I would say that's the most difficult chapter that you're going to come across. I really do. It's certainly the one that's got the most mathematics in it. So maybe you've just kind of gotten over some sort of hill and you're going down the other side. I don't know. We'll see. There is a topic coming up in probably about a month's time called hypothesis testing. That because the process of hypothesis testing is kind of protracted, you'll find it difficult. But my gosh, you've got probably 3 or 4 chapters associated with it. So yeah, at some point you're going to sort of see through it and see that it's really pretty easy, and you'll eventually get it. With respect to probability, what you learned this week, what you need to take away from you this week is just a couple of things, I think. One is just the basic definition of classic probability, that the probability of an event is just the ratio of 2 numbers. Up on top is the number of outcomes in that event that make up that event, or could make up that event, divided by the total number of outcomes. Okay, that's the case for every probability. So probability is a fraction, and it's a fraction between 0 and 1. So often calculating a probability is sort of equivalent to just counting the number of outcomes in the event, counting the number of total outcomes. But as you've seen, counting can get a little complicated and might require the use of what's called combinatorics, or combinations or permutations. That's why we looked at that material. So you'll carry that on as we continue through the course. You're going to see the addition rule and the multiplication rule a few more times. You're going to see the concept of independence a couple more times as well. So we're going to move into chapter 4. Chapter 4 is about probability, but from a different direction. It's probability as calculated for discrete probability distributions. And I'll let you just sort of get into the material to understand what that is. There are a lot of different discrete probability distributions. We're just going to look at 2. One called the binomial distribution and one called the Poisson distribution. Those two, the binomial distribution has a real place in a lot of different mathematics, but really I think you study discrete probability distributions this week, so that next week you can study continuous probability distributions, and it's those that we're going to use throughout the rest of the course. You're going to find you're going to have a continued reliance and an increased reliance on the calculator starting this week. We're going to start to explore things that aren't just in the stat package. Get used to it. Like I said, you're going to continue to use more and more of that calculator as we move on. So I'll let you figure it out, and you're doing quite well. 75% of the students in both of the classes here have accumulated more than 150 points. Remember, I recommend 50 points per week. So 75% of you have done that. There's a large fraction, over 60%, who are over 200 points, and there's 10 or 11 people who are over 250. That's just really, really good performance. I worry more for the 25% that really haven't kept up with the 150. I think you need to ask yourself, what are you doing? Can you find more time to do this? Because as you can, at some point you're just going to find that the task of sort of catching up is just going to look overwhelming to you, and it's a little bit easier, I think, if you can kind of work at a slightly higher pace now, rather than just finding yourself very far behind, very late in the semester. as the semester goes on, as you know, you just have more and more things to do, and so it becomes that much more difficult to accumulate a bunch of points in this course if all your other courses and life events are pushing on you. So the other thing I've done this week is I've gone back to the reading workbooks and I've recast all the fill-in-the-blank problems as multiple choice problems. So we should have fewer problems with, fewer issues with you putting in the right answer and Canvas going, no, that's, I really needed to see 2.0, you said 2, sorry. So I think I can kind of stay ahead of you on that and take a little bit of the heartbreak out of this course. All right, keep going. I've got a very simple discussion for you this week. I'm glad that you're starting to use the Q&A forums. Keep that up, and just keep up the great paces that you guys are working. You're really putting in a very good effort. All right, talk to you soon.